So today's word of the day is improvement. Improvement, meaning usually that something now or in the future is better than something in the past. Because to improve means to compare one situation to another situation, and then to judge that that one situation is better than the other situation, or lack of improvement means it's the same or has gotten worse. So it's a comparison, it's a judgment, it's time related. And as you know, time does not exist. This is a challenge. How can anything improve if time does not exist? If the only thing that exists is the moment point, and in the moment point you create the past, you create the present, and you create the future. So, to experience an improvement means that in the moment point, you are creating a present that is better than the past that you are creating at the exact same moment point. So this is one of the challenges in understanding how improvement works within a non-time framework, within a framework where everything exists in the here and now. Of course, you don't have to live your life that way. In fact, human life and many other forms of life in the galaxy do have a sense of time. They do have a sense of movement from one point to another point, from one moment point to another moment point, which means they carry basically all of those beliefs from moment point to moment point. They are carrying the baggage, you could say, of their belief system in order to maintain some sense of continuity. On the other hand, they could very easily and often do very readily change their timelines. You and others, even in your plane, will change your timeline from one moment point to another. And you can totally drop most of your baggage from the previous timeline, but then you also then pick up new baggage, so to say, in the new timeline, basically, because you're creating a past. And what we talk about baggage is everything that you've put into that past. And if you drop one past and pick up a new past, you basically don't really know that you've done that because you don't really remember. Until you've reached a higher level, a higher dimension, you really won't start remembering that. In the fifth dimension, you're much more aware that this is taking place, but you still don't have a lot of control over it. You do have skills, you develop skills to manage the past that you are creating to a much higher degree, because in the third dimension you don't even know that this possibility exists. In the fifth dimension you are very aware of it, but you still are developing the skills to manage and change on will those pasts. Once you start getting into the sixth dimension, those skills are much more highly developed, and in the seventh dimension, and as you move further up, the time aspect virtually disappears, and you're always in the moment point, and you're always aware of how you are creating a past, present, and future in that moment point. And you have the tools, you have the skills, you have the knowledge, you have the capacity to do that. So this is something that you're moving towards. And where you are now, from in the third dimension moving into the fifth dimension, some people say you already are in the fifth dimension. Basically, It's opening up the knowledge, the awareness that this is how reality is created, the awareness that you are only in the moment point. And then how does that inform what you're doing? How does that inform your life? How does that inform your interpretation of the past? How does that inform your speculation on the future? That is the lessons to be learned as you enter into the fifth dimension. So improvement, depending on what your goals are, you could call the fifth dimension an improvement over the third dimension. Now, there's some beings who actually prefer the third dimension for various reasons. They want to be completely lost to their knowledge and control over time and space, to their connection, their oneness, to their higher self, to the universe, to all that is. There's some people who really want to experience that, some beings, and they go into the third dimension to do that. There are others who do not want to do that, other personalities, other entities and beings who want to experience the transition of moving from a third dimension to a fifth dimension. And there are others who want to experience the transition of living in a fifth dimension and or moving into a sixth or higher dimension. So there's all kinds of options that different entities want to experience for various reasons to fulfill the full experience of all that is. So think about that. Whenever you're looking to improve something, think about what does that mean for the moment point, for the creation, for what you created in the past and what you're trying to create into your future. Improvement. It's a very tricky word. We love your experience. We thank you for this interaction. We love you. Namaste.